The future is bright. The future is incredible. And I think fourth quarter of this year is going to be unbelievable for a host of reasons. So super excited.
How do you think Bitcoin's going to go?
I've always said that I think in time, Bitcoin surpasses $1 million.
As you just heard, Eric Trump recently said that Bitcoin will surpass $1 million. He also stated that Q4 is going to be unbelievable, Q4 2025, of course. And this is a quarter that may be the turning point for the best altcoins out there. These are altcoins tied to one of the most talked about crypto ventures today. That, of course, is World Liberty Financial. Whether or not you're a fan of the Trumps, I think you have to at least concede that this is a venture that represents the smart money. Now, what that means, I would argue, is that paying attention to what Eric Trump is saying probably is going to be strategic, probably is going to help, and this is going to entail altcoins obviously tied to World Liberty Financial. Remember also there are various crypto ETFs associated with World Liberty Financial. These are exactly the altcoins that we're going to be looking at in this video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest, okay? World Liberty Financial altcoins or otherwise, I wish you well, genuinely. But I am not a financial or investment advisor, nor is this video official financial or investment advice. So why exactly is Eric Trump so confident in crypto in the first place? I would argue that the reason is actually pretty straightforward. It's all about finances. And if we look at January 2021, the Trump family faced 300 bank account closures by Capital One. Other banks followed Capital One's lead. And according to Eric, that's how they were driven or attracted at least to cryptocurrency. As he states, there were three main reasons that made it attractive. It was, first of all, a lot faster. Secondly, exponentially cheaper. And third, it's nice to hear him say this, a lot more transparent as well. And so over time, this resulted in various crypto-related ventures. There were, as you may remember, American Bitcoin that was mining with Hut 8. Trump and Melania launched meme coins. I wasn't a fan of those, but you know, they are part of the list here. Your opinion is going to be your opinion. There was also what Donald Trump launched in terms of various NFT collections. Also not my cup of tea. And then as well, we had Eric and Don Jr. created World Liberty Financial. Then, of course, once Donald Trump returned to the office of the presidency, the administration made waves with cryptocurrency, several waves. The president, for example, pardoned 3 BitMEX co-founders. He also pardoned Ross Ulbricht of Silk Road, the creator of Silk Road. He appointed a White House AI and crypto czar. He appointed more crypto-friendly key figures at various government offices. The SEC is just one example with Paul Atkins. And he started a crypto landscape of legislation, for example, the Genius Act, but there are other examples as well. However, there have been new developments. As of this recording, there is a confirmed United States government shutdown. This is since midnight on the 1st of October, which may cause delays for the ETF regulatory approvals. We talked about those, yesterday. So take a look at that video. We talked about all the schedules and everything to look forward to in the month of October. The shutdown could also temporarily weigh on markets, crypto and otherwise. So for instance, limiting rebound potential until a funding deal ends the impasse. That is a possibility. And at the same time, there's news from the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. That organization asked issuers of various ETFs to withdraw their 19B4 filings. So this follows the approval of generic listing standards and makes those filings unnecessary, actually. And it may speed up the approval process at the end of the day. However, providing there's no government shutdown. So I'm going to look at some altcoins in particular that are linked to WLFI. This can be either through Bitcoin mining, partnerships, or even those crypto ETFs. One big partnership to keep in mind, by the way, is WLFI's USD1 stablecoin that is going live on Aptos. Let's first talk here about Bitcoin and Ethereum, good old BTC and ETH. These are the two leaders of crypto. I don't want to call them co-leaders because Bitcoin is in a class of its own, but certainly number one, number two, comfortably the first and second most important projects in cryptocurrency. And with Bitcoin, I can make the link between Bitcoin mining. Both Eric and Don Jr. own about 20% of American Bitcoin Core. On NASDAQ, the ticker is ABTC. The very first day this stock traded on the NASDAQ, by the way, it went up to $14.52. That was in early September. As I record now, the current price is $6.84, nearly $6.85. the value here still represents a stake for Eric and Don close to $1.3 billion. Eric even stated that in terms of all of his business activities, all of his entrepreneurial ventures, the crypto sector takes up around 50%. And with that in mind, let's now switch gears and talk about Ethereum. The Trump Media and Technology Group have filed to launch cryptocurrency ETFs. This is the crypto blue chip ETF proposed by Trump Media. And it consists of 70% BTC and 15% Ethereum, ETH. There are 3 more altcoins involved. We're going to get to those in a moment, but just keep those numbers in mind. And there's also one more ETF filing by Trump Media, which aims to offer a combined Bitcoin and Ethereum exposure. For this ETF, the split is 75% Bitcoin and 25% Ethereum. If approved, you can expect a listing of this ETF on the New York Stock Exchange, ARCA. So investors get access to those mentioned crypto assets for both these ETFs. However, without having to own them, which is, a nice advantage for some people, depending on how familiar you are with cryptocurrency. Of course, we do have arm's length investors. We want to make them feel welcome. And so altogether, Trump Media plans to file for 5 different crypto ETFs in total. Okay, and Solana, ticker SOL, SOL, is one of those 3 altcoins in Trump Media's so-called crypto blue chip ETF. After Bitcoin and Ethereum, it gets the highest allocation, SOL that is, with 8%. And this probably should have a notable positive outcome for the price of the SOL token. And let me explain why. Straightforward reasoning, of course, would suggest that this is going to increase institutional demand, or at least attention here in Solana, which is going to create significant buying pressure. That's from investors seeking more exposure to SOL. It's also important to understand that this is a regulated financial vehicle. It officializes things. So this enhances Solana's legitimacy as well as its visibility. So mainstream and retail investors are going to find credibility here in a Trump-backed ETF. Furthermore, it's listed, like I said, on the New York Stock Exchange. This can very positively impact SOL's adoption and price appreciation. But then there's also diversification appeal here, because it represents really a simpler way for investors to diversify into SOL. Because like I said, Bitcoin is at 70%, Ethereum is at 15%, and so exposure to other altcoins is kind of a bonus here if you're looking for something that is more diverse. Positive market sentiment is also a factor here to consider. Trump Media's strong brand and political backing can stir a Trump bump effect. Very, very polarizing as a figure, of course. Those that love him, love him. Those that hate him, hate him. But I think that Trump bump effect is still something that reasonably can be expected. And so the launch of this ETF will create hype, will create media attention, which should translate positively into the price of SOL. And of course, any other altcoins that are part of, again, the so-called crypto blue chip ETF. After Solana, we have to look at Cronos and CRO, which is also one of the altcoins that's part of this blue chip ETF. Now, we do have a smaller allocation here, only 5%. Cronos, again, ticker CRO, is a layer 1 blockchain. It is built by Crypto.com. Now, Cronos may sound like an odd choice, but the Trump Media and Technology Group has partnered with Crypto.com. The Yorkville Acquisition Corps is also part of this partnership. Altogether, they form the Trump Media Group CRO Strategy Incorporated, and this is a digital asset treasury company focused on acquiring CRO tokens. I'm sure that by now you can kind of see where this is going for CRO, and CRO is integrated as the crypto for Trump's Truth Social network as well. People forget about that, but that's also a pretty significant variable to consider. And so CRO benefited very nicely from this announcement. We're kind of down off of that news from about a month ago, and prices have tumbled back down along with the rest of the market. But CRO did go up by about 40%. In fact, it went from 16 cents to 32 cents in only 2 days. Right now, as I record, it's back to about 20 cents. Pretty much all the reasons why it would benefit Solana are also valid for Cronos here. Plus, if you think of the custodian, that's a big deal as well. It is, of course, Crypto.com, which marks a pretty deep operational link supporting CRO's adoption. So this treasury company aims to hold around $1 billion worth of CRO tokens, which is roughly 19% of CRO's market cap. But also this partnership involves $200 million in cash, $220 million in exercise warrants, a $5 billion equity credit line. And so in the long term, all of this just bodes very well for the price of CRO, which is still comfortably below its all-time high of about 96 cents. Last but not least here, we have to consider Ripple and XRP, which is also part of this blue chip ETF. Only 2% though, so a much more modest allocation for XRP. But still, Ripple will share the same benefits as Solana and Cronos. Like I've been saying, those include increased institutional buying demand, improved market visibility for XRP. The Trump bump effect here still applies, which should lead to a price increase for XRP. And so another Trump card, pun intended, in Ripple's already extensive war chest. Upon approval of the blue chip ETF, I can reasonably see the XRP token profiting from this, appreciating it in the same way, for example, as SOL and CRO. And XRP has been faring a little bit better in the last 30 days here, with a price as I record of $2.94. That is up over 6% in these last 30 days. So look, these ETFs could launch in Q4. If that's the case, I think that's the likelihood. All the more reason why these 4 altcoins mentioned today, plus Bitcoin, can see a pretty positive price increase in the relatively near future. And also, in case you didn't know, Trump Media is also listed on the NASDAQ with the DJT ticker. So let me know what you think about these. I am curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below. This should be a catalyst. It should be a positive, in my opinion, the approval of this blue chip ETF strategy by Trump Media. Do you think it's going to be a good thing? If so, to what extent? How significant is it? Let me know your thoughts as well on social media. You can find us on X. You can find us on Discord. You can find those links and join the conversations in the description of this video below. The links, the URLs, as always, are there.